Let's go. Another Roarrior video. The closest launch date possible. Is it gonna tell me 2003 again? 2003. Yeah, that would be pretty close. 2023 again. Let's go and see what he
weeks,
says.
there have been a few posts and videos popping up talking about Ashes of Creation.
I do feel like, well, first of all, I do feel like there's a lot more often live letters than there were before, or maybe I just wasn't as aware of them, but it feels like every month there's a live letter. I don't know if it was like that before. I think it was like longer than every once a month.
Launch date. We've seen topics like,
and also they have more
we
information.
think, to Ashes will launch on a such and such date. And while I, like many others, would love for the game to release tomorrow, it's simply not going to happen. Instead, I think we need to set some expectations. Now, I'm no game developer, but I get loads of comments from people who I assume are game developers because they're constantly telling me I know nothing about game development. And that's pretty true. The only thing I've learned about
Usually a lot of people who say that are also not game developers, but they think they know about game developers just as much as a game developer. Yeah, that's usually what happens.
In 30 years of gaming is that it takes a long time. So using my extensive knowledge that I have.
But the thing is, like, I mean, it has been a long time, wouldn't you say? And the game development started 2017, right? Or 2014 even. 2015, 2014. Something like that.
Amassed over the years
been
on
a long
the subject.
time.
Let's investigate what we know and what we have yet to see.
You know what's even funnier? No matter how excited we are, imagine how excited Steven is for the game to be launched. Like how much he wants the game to launch already. Not because it's like it's a lot of his money that goes into it. More so because, man, he probably just wants to play the game. This is a game he made for himself to play with other people, right? This is like a game he's making for himself. So it's like, imagine how much he wants to play it.
2022 was a big year. We've seen massive updates to the game with every monthly live stream. Ashes of Creation is now running on the most current generation of the Unreal Engine, which would make it one of the first MMORPGs to launch on the most current generation of its engine. Because in most cases, by the time an MMORPG launches, its engine is outdated. I'm not going to go into much detail on this. My friend Zillin has already done it. It's a great video. You can check it out in the link below. But we've also seen the first iteration of the character creator, the first passes at the melee in ranged hybrid combat, a couple of zones, the Riverlands and desert biomes, which I assume are finished outside of maybe some polish, some dragons, which seem to share the same model but with different particle effects, and 4 out of the 8 archetypes. They have come a long way since Alpha 1, but what's next?
Wait, how old is this?
Intrepid claims to be
2 weeks ago. I thought they had already 9 races out.
Open development game. They share everything, no NDAs. It's pretty great for us to see what they are working on.
Weren't there NDAs in some? I guess some testings had NDA, yeah.
It's also a double-edged sword. When some players see things that aren't finished, they say, this looks awful, game's gonna fail, blah, blah, blah. But this transparent game development does not show all. They tend to only show us what looks good or is close to being finished. If they showed us everything, then it would be safe to assume that they haven't even started working on the other archetypes or dungeons or naval combat, etc., because they haven't shown it. And I'm sure that's not the case. More than likely, they are working on these things and keeping them on the down low until they're ready to show. So on to the question, what's left for them to do? Will Ashes of Creation full launch in 2023? Well, there's still a ton of things we haven't seen. Again, it doesn't mean that they aren't working on them, we just haven't seen them. And they are. The other 4 archetypes, Fighter, Bard, Summoner, and Rogue. After that, there are the 64 classes.
Oh, that's what he meant, archetypes, like the classes.
2 chosen archetypes make up. But before these classes and archetypes are being driven home, combat needs to be dialed in. We've seen where they're at with combat, and in both displays, Steven says that feedback and testing are still needed. So combat could still change. And when it's finished, weapon and archetype skills and abilities need to be put into place. Then comes the skill trees and augments. We've seen the world map update and even had some zone names leaked, but so far we've only seen a few biomes that look finished. Beyond that, we've seen nothing as far as naval content goes. Ships, islands, ocean wildlife, the naval combat, etc. Just to put that bit into perspective, Sea of Thieves took 4 years to create with almost 200 employees working on the project. And with Intrepid's recent announcement of 700 square kilometers full of naval content,
yeah, it's gonna be...
once the world is in a happy spot, next comes the nodes, each with 6 stages of monsters, points of interest, player hubs, dungeons, resources.
But the thing is with the Sea of Thieves, isn't their world more dynamic in a way? Because like the treasure islands and stuff like that, they have to be very dynamic and changing, whereas like the world for Ashes of Creation doesn't. You know? It's dynamic in the sense like, yeah, trees respawn, mobs and all that stuff, but as far as like the treasures and all that stuff, that doesn't have to, you know, it's like every island has to be different, stuff like that. Like I feel like the way the game is designed in Sea of Thieves is very different. Like the world is designed in a very different way than what it is in Ashes of Creation. I'm not sure which one is more complex though.
Quests per node and who knows what else. Next is crafting. We currently know of 19 different crafting professions that all need to be fleshed out. And you can't have crafting without
19 crafting professions? What the fuck?
Items, armor, weapons, gatherables, materials. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of items need to be created to fulfill the game's needs. We also have the religion system, the political systems, that player housing system, the underrealm, sieges, guild wars, monster coins, caravans, and probably lots of other things that I'm leaving out. This is going to be a massive game, and I'm sure most of these things are being worked on. Intrepid has a big team, and it's just getting bigger. But in truth, no one, I don't even think Steven at this point, could give us a launch date. No one knows.
No,
I've
probably
been
not.
saying on our podcast, The Burning Discussion, for a while now that I think Q4 of 2024 is the soonest that we could see it completed. And that's if nothing goes wrong. Now,
I really hope it's not Q4 of 2024 because that's the next WoW expansion. That's just me though. I really hope it's not. And we all know, and the reason it's not even because it's going to be bad for Ashes that it is, because if Ashes says that they're going to release in Q4 of 2024, we all know that World of Warcraft will try to sabotage them while also sabotaging themselves. They will actually make their own game worse by releasing something not ready just to make sure people are not trying to play Ashes of Creation. But see, here's the thing. Ashes of Creation is not trying to adhere to any shareholders or anything like that. So even if at launch, like the first 2 weeks are not going to be like, you know, a million, gazillion, bazillion players, right? It's only going to have like 50K, and then it will grow to 500K and maybe to 1 million, which again, doubtful because this game is not meant for those usual MMORPG players. But even if it does, it wouldn't matter to Steven. I think Steven only wants about 100,000 players as a whole, and he'll be okay with a bit less, and he'll be okay with a lot more, right? I don't think that matters to him. So in that regard, Blizzard will try to sabotage AOC, but evidently they usually sabotage themselves, like releasing expansions when they're not ready, releasing patches when they're not ready, releasing content that's not ready, raids that have bugs where the fucking final boss drops through a hole.
And say, what about scope creep? I really don't think it's something we need to worry about.
I don't think there is scope creep at all.
I just listed are things that Steven has said he wants in the core game from the get-go. It's all a part of his plan. I think once the Alpha 2 starts, we will have a much better idea of how far along they actually are. And Alpha 2 is going to run for a long while. The game will be practically complete before Alpha 2 is over. Many of us creators think Alpha 2 will begin around March of 2023 and the Beta 1 and 2 and then launch. but I just cannot see Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2, and launch all happening within 9 months for a 2023 date. Intrepid has said that the betas will be relatively short. You can see that here.
Here's the last question. Is the before 2020 release still likely? The answer.
Wait.
Here's the last question. Is the before 2020 release still likely? The answer is yes, it is still likely. And to expand on that, though, I do want to say, you know, I have noticed, obviously, conversation is how do they intend to release by 2020 if they have, you know, alpha scheduled for second or third quarter or whatever. The betas that we intend to have are not months-long betas.
We want to keep it short.
Pretty short.
The game should be pretty much done at that point.
At beta stage.
And final polishes and stuff like that being put in.
Yes.
It is, again, we don't want people to get totally burnt out on the game before we actually release.
Right, exactly.
So once we get to those beta phases, it should
Oh
be
man,
short.
people will get burned out even like with the 2 week with all the content released on beta.
Sweet. And that's the plan.
But in that video, they
But again, that was like a very old video, and that philosophy might have changed. Also, the guy in the chicken suit doesn't work there anymore. He opted to develop VR games because that was his real passion. Which, by the way, VR games, man, I can't wait for VR games to catch up to fucking PC games. Oh my god, it's gonna be fucking the best day of my life.
also said the launch would be in 2020, so I no longer trust anything they said in that video. So, the long and short of it, no one knows when the launch could be. It's all speculation. It'll be easier to just assume it'll take 10 more years. And if it happens sooner than that, great. Surprise. Anyways, guys, I am about to start live streaming right here.
That is actually my philosophy on this. Like, yeah, as much as I would love the game to be out tomorrow, the thing is just like, I'm gonna expect to be released in 8 years, and then suddenly get notifications like, "Hey, we're releasing next month." And I'll be like, "Fuck yeah, brother, let's go, bro! I'm taking fucking a month off of work. Let's go." You know, like I would love for that to be the case.
Here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe so you see me go live, and you can come talk with me about MMORPGs. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in Alpha 2.
Awesome, cool video. Good stuff, man. I need to get a green screen, but again, don't have the room for it really. Like it's not it. Wicked globalists are causing starvation and poverty under the guise. Yep. We all know this. Nothing new here. But yeah. Fuck, man. Am I getting on the AOC boat? I don't think I am. I don't think I'm there yet. Like, do I want the game? Yeah, I want the ride MMO too, but I don't think I'm on the ship yet. You know, my boat has not been shipped yet. But yeah. Anyways, that's the video. Roarrior, give him a like, give him a sub, give him a comment, all the good stuff. And if you got time, leave one for me too, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.